we had, but like he says, actually it was 4. It's like Vandro has lived that before. No, I've been here before. It's 4 times. Stuff like that. He knows he's been
Yeah.
there so often. He knows, but like the foreshadowing was just crazy, to be honest. And we talk
Yeah.
about time loops. There's like maybe there's 4 different time periods where this happened, and each one of them they die. And even in the one where they succeed in Army of the Dead, they die as well. Some of the characters, but in Army of the Thieves, the first kind of dream that Dieter has about a zombie, the number on his door is the number 3, which I thought was very interesting. That was his door number. But then also, if you go back into the room, there's kind of a dice on the table which has the number 4 there also. But like these things are just
It has
jumping
4
out
and
of
also 3 on 2 sides.
yeah,
So when we see from
yeah,
here, we see 4, and when we see from back, we see 3.
yeah. So like these things are just jumping out everywhere. And I even think in that shot as well, where I think there's an exterior shot from outside the window where Dieter's on the couch watching the news.
Yeah.
There's also
3.
It's kind of like a it's like a there's a window there. There's half a circle, and like there's 1 part of the glass, 2 parts, and then 3 parts of the glass, and it's just I don't know. You can see Dieter within the 3 parts of the glass. Like this is the third scenario.
Yeah.
This happened,
And we see Dieter in the first one here. But that's actually the third one when you see from his perspective. So he's basically in the third hole there, where the camera is showing. But that's the door in the dream sequence is not the only reference to 3, like you said. There's also this. So this was when he was going to the second save, I believe, where they were breaking into the building, going into the elevator and all that stuff. So there was on this door there was 3 as well. And inside the elevator where they go, and this is, I believe, the second save, because the first one just happened in a flashback, which we'll talk about that as well. But the second save, and in the lift there's just 3 floors here, and the third one is the topmost. So that's also very interesting.
Yeah, like we've watched Army Dead a number of times, and
the
3, like there's even a scene where the heist team, the police is leading the team. They come across the table where there's all these dead people at the table, and there's blueprints of the same safe that the same blueprints that they have. And Tanaka, the bastard, he's had other teams here before us trying to succeed.
Yeah.
And and Zack Snyder says something interesting. That could be them. Maybe it is them, just in a different timeline or different time loop. They've come here and they've failed. And then we go into the actual safe, or go into the actual location of the safe in Army of the Dead, and there's another crew there who have failed to get by the barriers, and they're wearing the same necklaces or same kind of scarves or clothes as the group is wearing in Army of the Dead. There's people on the ground dead who are literally them. So that's another argument that brings up, and that's why we have these kind of time loop theories. And maybe the one at the table was the second time they failed, and then the third time was where we get to see their clothing, and then the fourth time is the actual Army of the Dead movie. And maybe one of these timelines here that we get to see an Army of the Thieves. Dieter succeeds. Dieter gets to Vegas in every timeline probably, but just different things happen in each. He meets Gwendolyn, or he comes across a zombie. There's different timelines that they're not all these same that happened, but I think that's what we're seeing throughout these movies is just different scenes and different timelines through the dreams, through the prophecies, through the people at the table with the blueprints, or the people by the safe wearing the same clothes.
Yeah. And also the safe has 3 locks, and he says these 3 locks, I think they represent the Rhine Maidens, the Rheingold safe. So yeah, a lot of 3s, a lot of hints at this being a previous timeline to the Army of the Dead one. But maybe we are just looking way more into it than there actually is. But I don't think so.
And also, there's 4 safes.
Yeah.
And what I want to go back to is as well, we're jumping back and forth.
Yeah.
series, and it's all connected. That meme, it's all connected.
Yeah,
But there's
it's
four
all
safes
connected.
in this movie. There's three safes that we come across. Now, what's interesting about that is the ending of this movie, where Dieter is approached by Maria and Scott to join the team. Dialogue is the same, but Dieter's facial expressions are different. The way he says words are different in each scene. So go back and watch Army of the Dead where Dieter's recruited, and go watch the exact same scene. You think it's the same scene in Army of the Thieves. It's not. They're two different scenes.
Yeah.
Which goes back to my argument is, I think this movie is timeline 3 that we're watching.
Yeah.
And timeline 4 is Army of the Dead.
Mm-hmm.
Because in this movie, the reason I call this movie timeline 3 is because we encountered the three safes. There's three safes in this one. And then what brings the three safes to four safes? Because this is Dieter's story. Dieter comes across the Rheingold, the Valkyrie, and the Siegfried. So this is timeline 3. He comes across those three. But when he comes across all four, is Army of the Thieves and Army of the Dead put together. That's Dieter's kind of big story. That's where we get to see, this is kind of his origin story. This is kind of the setup to Dieter finding the fourth safe. And I think Army of the Dead is the fourth timeline, while Army of the Thieves is the third timeline. And I think the ending of this movie, where he meets Dave Bautista's character Scott and Maria, I think in timeline 3 they die. They all die. They fail to get, either die at the outside the safe. Yeah. That's where they die. That's where I think timeline 3 is.
Yeah.
And in timeline 4, because of the dialogue is the same, but the facial expressions, the way Dieter acts in Army of the Dead compared to Army of the Thieves when he meets those characters is very different. So I think it's timeline 4, and he succeeds.
Yeah, that's why they kind of feel like they're forgetful and doing it for the first time, yet they know that they have done this before and stuff like that, right? Especially with Van der Rohe. So it's interesting. Yeah. And we'll also talk about
Van der Rohe is the biggest one.
Yeah, we'll also talk about the Van der Rohe thing before we talk about this for a minute. So the scene that Army of the Dead introduces Dieter in, and the ending of Army of Thieves is the same scene, but the Army of Thieves one is just extended, and there are 3 shots that are different, right? And the last one here, I think, is just an alternate take that's done for dramatic effect for this movie, the way to end it, and probably just an alternate take that Zack said, you can use this one. It's probably, it will just be a cool thing. But knowing Zack, he already confirmed that time loop exists. He already confirmed that multiverse and multiple timelines exist in this world. He already also confirmed that supernatural elements like, the alpha zombies and different planets, aliens, and a portal through which they can go to the other planet, which we'll talk about in the next topic. Such stuff exists, right? And he also said that nothing is impossible in this universe because of all of these things. So, I'm just saying.
There's definitely something there. Yeah. And Van der Rohe, I don't know what's going on with his character per se, but he's definitely an old soul. He has gone through many different periods. He has, I think, go back and watch Army of the Dead, and when Van der Rohe gets ready to confront Zeus, or they get ready to fight, that's not just them fighting. They've met each other before. They've come across each other before. Yeah. And maybe even in the zombie wars, which we'll find out about in the prequel, the Army of the Dead animated series or movie. But I actually think I think it goes back deeper than that. I think it goes back way deeper than that. And we'll have to find out in the next few movies and shows. But them two guys definitely have met, and I think Dieter is another character who's connected to those two characters. So I think the 3 of those characters definitely go back to before Army of the Thieves, mythologically.